Welcome. You are in the lab room. I'm your host, Lou. Thank you for joining me. Week number 17, National Football League. We can see the finish line. There it is, right in front of us. Regular season finish line right there. Indianapolis Colts really don't have to do much to cross it at this point, having clinched this division about a month ago. They're simply trying to finish up this season strong with some momentum going into the postseason, finishing up at home versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. AFC South family business. Every game is family business in week number 17. This was no different. If you're the Colts, it's really simple. Dominate at home against a bad Jacksonville team. Continue to play some good football. This is some football reminiscent of what the Colts were playing before the Reggie Wayne injury, before the injury to Ahmad Bradshaw, where they were running the football with effectiveness. They were passing the football off of that run, play action fake, finding guys wide open, really making some big plays in the passing game, getting chunk yardage out of the passing game, and also playing defense, forcing turnovers, Robert Mathis getting to the quarterback. This is reminiscent of that big win. And to me, a lot of people downplayed that win a week ago against Kansas City. That was a huge win against Kansas City for a number of reasons. I'll talk about that at the end. Let's break this game down. 4-11 Jacksonville at 10-5 Indianapolis. The Colts came out and did what you are supposed to do, exactly what you are supposed to do to an inferior opponent at home. They jumped on these guys early, went down the field, scored a touchdown early in this game off of a Maurice Jones-Drew fumble. He coughed it up on the opening possession of the game. Colts take that turnover, turn it into a touchdown, 7-0. Get the football back, go down the field again, get another touchdown. They go for it. And this was aggressive on the part of Chuck Pagano. They're at the 3-yard line or so, 2-yard line, 4th and goal. And they decide to go for it. They hand the ball off to T. Rich. Trent Richardson gets in the end zone. And this is what he's supposed to do in Indianapolis. If you're going to rush for 2 yards per, you got to get the ball in the end zone when they give it to you around the goal line. And this is what he specialized in Cleveland. He gets it in. Great blocking. He uses his strength to run through an arm tackle, gets in the end zone. It's 14-0. That's how you start a football game against a Jacksonville Jaguars team with all the 4 wins to their name. If you're Indy, you come out, you dominate, you set the tempo and the tone in this game. You jump on them before the half. It was already 20-0, something along those lines, 17-0. And they ran away with this game. They end up winning it 30-10. Do the Indianapolis Colts. I want to talk about this game and how it unfolded and how they've been playing of late. I think that the Indianapolis Colts are finding their stride again. Again, they struggled. After that Reggie Wayne injury, there was a little bit of a transitional phase that they went through where they struggled to score offensively, and they didn't really know where their production offensively, especially out wide, was going to come from. Again, T.Y. Hilton is the guy that you want to get the football to. He's an explosive player. He had a huge game, about 11 catches, well over 100 yards in this game. But you don't want to just rely on T.Y. Hilton. Teams can take him away if there's nothing else there to threaten them. And that's why I felt like they needed some other options. And I didn't know where they're going to come from. But luckily enough for them, Derek Rodgers, I think, has been a huge part of this team starting to have a resurgence on offense. And I know you think Derek Rodgers and you're thinking this rookie, undrafted, comes in and what does he do? But what he does to me is he adds another element out there. You got to keep tabs on it. Not necessarily someone that's a game changer per se yet. He hasn't established himself as that. But I think he's a guy that you have to keep tabs on because he can make plays. Then you start getting a guy like Griff Whalen in there that can catch the football, do some things for you, get the tough yardage in there. You look at Coby Fleener. If he can be consistent over the middle of the field, he's another guy you got to worry about. And then you sprinkle in the Brazils of the world, and all of a sudden you have some guys that can offset the production that you're going to get from T.Y. Hilton. Take a little bit of the attention away from him, allow him to run in space. And all of a sudden, you dump it down to Donald Brown. You dump it down to Trent Richardson in the passing game. Stanley Havili gets active a little bit. Everybody starts to get involved. It's a team effort. You start running the ball. D. Brown has been huge in the running game. Again, never thought I'd be able to say that as I watched this Colts team play football, but he's been huge in the running game. Trent Richardson making contributions here and there, running the football, catching out of the backfield. So this offense is hitting their stride at the right time. And they've won 3 in a row. They've looked impressive doing so, especially, again, that win in Week 16 against Kansas City. Can't underscore that enough. Again, let's talk about why that win was huge. Okay, you go on the road, you beat a really good Kansas City Chiefs team in their place, knowing that there's a great possibility that you'll see that team again in Wild Card Weekend. And lo and behold, here we go, 4-5 matchup, Indianapolis Colts at home hosting the Kansas City Chiefs. You asked me this question a month ago, who's going to win this game? And I tell you, without a hiccup, without a hitch, without hesitation, Kansas City walks into there, smacks the Colts all around, forces them into some mistakes. Colts can't generate enough offense, can't score enough points. Kansas City wins this football game, something like 20-13 in Wild Card Weekend. You talk to me now, and it's a totally different story. What a difference a month makes. This Colts team has found their stride offensively. They're running the football. Andrew Luck was sharp in this game. He made one throw in that first half that was questionable, that if you ask him, he'll probably say, hey, I want that throw back. And that was right around the goal line. He tries to fit it in there to one of his receivers, and it's almost picked off by Paul Posluszny. Other than that throw, I thought he was razor sharp in that first half. I thought this offense was playing at a very high level. And you look at what they were able to do against Kansas City. They ran the football down the throats and through the teeth of that defense in Kansas City. They executed on defense. They pressured Alex Smith, forced him into some mistakes. They forced turnovers. They got it done in that football game in convincing fashion. Now that team has to come to your place. They couldn't beat you at home. Now you have a psychological edge over Kansas City as they have to march into your building and try to get a win in Wild Card Weekend. Should be a lot of fun. I fully expect this to be a great football game. I'll break it down. I'll give you my predictions later on in the week as I give you a playoff breakdown later on down the line in this week. But another convincing win to finish up this season. If you're the Indianapolis Colts, gotta love the way you finished this season off and polished off the Jacksonville Jaguars in this game and polished off a very good 2013 regular season again. I didn't think that this Colts team would be able to muster 11 wins off the heels of an 11-win season a year ago. I thought that was a season filled with a lot of bad teams and them taking advantage of those teams. Didn't think they'd be able to do that again. But not only did they do that again, but they exceeded my expectations and won the division this time around. So kudos to the Indianapolis Colts as they win this game 30-10, wrap up the season at 11-5, get the home playoff game. 4-5 matchup will be hosting the Kansas City Chiefs in Wild Card Weekend. That'll be the first game on Saturday in Wild Card Weekend, so that should be a lot of fun. Can't wait to watch that matchup as they take care of business. From the end of the Jacksonville Jaguars, disappointing finish to the season. Again, you win 4 games, finish the season up at 4-12, but you had opportunities to win more games down the stretch. You let Buffalo come in your house and steal one. You had Tennessee on the ropes, let them off the hook, and then you go on the road and you're blown out by Indianapolis. So you had a stretch there where you had 3 consecutive home games. Would have loved to have seen you win 2 out of those 3 games at home. You were only able to get 1. So a little disappointed there to the finish of the season by Jacksonville. But again, this is a team looking for a quarterback. I think you're out of the Blaine Gabbert business, and that's been long overdue. Chad Henne, to me, an excellent backup quarterback, not a starter. Got to go in the draft. Find yourself a starting quarterback. I think you're starting to build some pieces around. Don't know the future of Maurice Jones-Drew in Jacksonville. He's got a contract coming up. Going to see how that all unfolds. But I feel like you got pieces that you're building around. I like the energy that Gus Bradley brings to this team. I love what you're doing in the front office. So I feel like there's some positive steps and strides being taken in Jacksonville. But again, everything starts the quarterback position for this football team. And you know, that's how it goes in this league. You don't have a quarterback, you don't have a chance. And right now, the Jacksonville Jaguars are limited in what they can do as a football team, as a franchise, because they're limited at the quarterback position. They get the quarterback, that can come in and galvanize this team, win ball games, and prove to be a leader, maybe you'll be talking about this Jacksonville Jaguars football team turning things around here in the near future. But 4-12 could have been a lot worse, could have been a lot better. I think this is where this team is for the talent that's on this team without a quarterback. I think 4-12 with some of the injuries that you suffered down the stretch is probably where you're supposed to be to wrap up this season. So that's going to do it for this installment of In the Lab Room. I thank you for joining me. If it happens in the National Football League, whether big or small, we cover it all here in the Lab Room. The Colts get it done, finish up as the 4th seed in the AFC. They needed a lot of help. They needed the Ravens to beat Cincinnati, and I knew that wasn't going to happen. They weren't going into the jungle to beat them. They needed the Patriots to lose to the Bills to get to the number 2 seed. None of those things happened. Cincinnati takes care of business. So do the Patriots. So the Colts remain the 4th seed. And I said as much about a month ago when I did the playoff breakdown for the AFC. I said I don't see them moving from the 4th seed. Didn't see Kansas City moving from the 5 seed. And I said I thought those two teams would match up. And that's why that game 2 weeks ago would be such a huge matchup for a psychological edge. And if you're Indy, you hold that psychological edge, having beat them in their place. Now they got to come to yours. I expect you to be able to play some good football at home against Kansas City. That should be a fun matchup. Thank you for joining me here on the program. Got plenty more games to break down in week number 17. So come back and join me as I continue to break down week number 17, the season finale in the National Football League.